Welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. Thank you for joining us again. I'm going to show you what has become one of our family favorites, and I've come to call it 10 can chili because it uses up 10 cans from the pantry, along with a pound of hamburger meat or whatever meat you have left in your fridge, be it chicken or leftover pulled pork or any kind of meat, about a pound or so. So we're going to brown the hamburger meat. So we'll put that in and let that start heating up. And then I cut up some white onion earlier in the week, so I'm going to put that in with the hamburger meat to brown. And get the rest of that out. And then I also happen to have some leftover tomatoes from some tacos we had earlier in the week. So once the meat's done, I'll throw those in as well. Because chili is a good way to use what you have on hand and maybe use up some tail ends of vegetables or tomatoes or onion you've already got cut up.
And how much onion was it?
It was about half of a large softball-sized onion. So, and for our 10 cans, we're going to have 2 cans of tomato sauce, 2 cans of kidney beans, 2 cans of garbanzos, 2 cans of black beans, and 2 cans of vegetarian beans. These are similar to pork and beans, but without the meat in them. And I'm going to drain the regular beans, except for the vegetarian beans, because they already have tomato sauce in them, which contributes to the sauce for the soup. So, basically this recipe came about as a way of using up a lot of cans we had, as well as being a cost-saving meal to use up what we had on hand rather than going out and buying ingredients.
Just out of curiosity, what meat are you using today?
This is actually some ground bison that we were given.
Bison?
It's a very lean version, similar to beef as far as taste and function, but it's extremely lean and we don't have to drain it when we're done. The last time I cooked up some fatty hamburger meat, it made the stove so greasy, I had to clean it all. So, whatever lean meat you have on hand, I've used pulled pork to make this. I've used leftover roast beef, chicken, whatever meat you have.
And you just brown it in that pot, right?
Yeah, and this pot is kind of got that non-stick coating.
Watch yourself there, I'm gonna burn it.
Well, it's just we got that hot spot in the back of the stove. So, and since this will not likely need to be drained, I'm going to go ahead and add some seasoning to it while it's cooking. And this is my new favorite, this Kinder's Master Salt. It's garlic, sea salt, and butter. And it's great on veg, meat, whatever. And I even use it to make roast chicken in the crock pot the other night.
You do a lot of
Yeah. It's got garlic. It's a very important ingredient. And then we can also put in some fresh garlic. Scare the vampires away. So, get a nice sized spoon of garlic and a little bit more just for good measure. I mean, that giant container of garlic costs the same as buying 2 of the itty bitty jars. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to go through it. May as well get the big jar. So, and again, this actually recipe came about as just something I threw together to use of what we had, and it became a family favorite. So, a lot of recipes are like that, you know. Like some of the recipes I've shown you guys are ones that I grew up with. Like the pork chop Spanish rice. And this is one that I just kind of invented. And because I happen to use 10 cans, I just called it 10 can chili for lack of a a different thing to call it.
So for lack of a better term, you kind of Iron Chef this.
Pretty much. And a lot of the meals I make are kind of Iron Chef. I see what we have available to use, and based on past experience, I know what things work together, and what spices work, and how to make things come together as far as flavor. So this meat is actually nearly brown. So you want to look in there, Logan? It's nice and brown. I like gas stoves because you can control the heat better. Of course, on this one, we've got a hot spot on the back of the stove. I don't know why. I cleaned it. So, I'm going to start adding the ingredients. And again, depending upon the meat that you use, you may or may not need to drain it. Leaner meats like turkey and chicken may or may not need to be drained. This bison is relatively lean, so I'm not going to worry about draining it because it doesn't leave much grease in the pot. So, we have got our tomato sauce. I'm going to, whoops, cause a disaster here. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. So, I'm just going to pour this in. And tomato sauce helps make a nice rich broth. So we got 1 can, 2 can, the second can here. One thing I've learned over time is that you need to have a good pantry stockpile of ingredients because it makes life easier. And here we have the vegetarian beans. They have a tomato sauce in them, so I'm just going to throw them in with their own sauce. They're kind of compacted. Just scoop them out. Get that last bean there, it's hiding. Okay, there we go. And then the second can, that's number 4 out of our 10 cans. Alright. So those are the things I will not need to drain. So the next ones I'm going to put in a colander that I've set over a bowl just to keep things contained. Whoops. So there's the black beans. Alright. So these are very, very dark black beans. Some black beans tend to be either a very, very dark velvet black, and some tend to be like a dark purple. But I guess it just depends on how they're packed and whatever they use in the packaging process. And then garbanzos, which is kind of an unusual addition to chili, but one time we had an awful lot of garbanzo beans on hand. I'm like, what am I going to use these in? So I started putting them in random things and found that they actually do taste really good in chili. Because they're one of those blank slate type of things where it tends to take on whatever flavors you put it with. So now we got the kidney beans.
Now, do you put the beans in this particular order?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay.
Nope, doesn't matter. Whatever works. So now we've got everything added. Put that in the sink. It's always good to clean as you go. And because we have these leftover tomatoes that need to be eaten up, I'm just going to throw them in the chili because tomatoes taste good in chili.
Yay!
And how much tomato is that?
Yeah, it was about a cup. Just some Roma tomatoes I had cut up to put in some tacos that they were left over. So now this is a little on the thick side, so I'm going to add water and then some dry broth. So I'm going to add a can from the tomato sauce. Kind of rinse out the can as well as get some water in the soup. serves two purposes. Alright. Because otherwise the chili would be really, really thick. So you can see that the consistency of the chili. And for flavor, I'm going to put in two different things. I'm going to put in some beef broth. This Knorr beef broth is amazing. It adds a lot of flavor to soups, chilies, and whatever. And with whenever I make chicken soup, I use a lot of the dry chicken broth in it as well. This is the beef broth.
I noticed you put two tablespoons in there?
Yeah. Just to give it extra flavor. And this is the tomato broth, which is actually a mixture of tomato and chicken broth. I'm just going to put 1 spoon of that. And this is really good in Mexican rice and in chilies and such. So these are good seasonings to have in your pantry, because they are going to be very versatile. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of cumin. It adds a good flavor to the chili. And then, because we are making chili, we're going to use chili powder. And as you can tell, we go through a lot of chili because this... okay, well, you know what? We use the smaller spoon and just use more of them. So we're going to put in about a tablespoon of chili powder. So now that we got all those ingredients together, we're going to let it sit and simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let the flavors come together. And then we'll bring you back for a taste test. So please like and subscribe and share to your friends. And come back again in just a few minutes and see the beautiful chili we've made, and Logan can have a taste test. Thank you for coming back. We are done with our chili. Why don't you look in the pot here?
Oh wow, it's delicious.
See, the broth is thickened up quite a bit and all the flavors have come together. So we're going to ladle up the chili. I like a more soupy chili so you can dunk your bread in it.
Oh yeah.
So, and I also made garlic bread while the soup was cooking.
Ooh.
And I used some leftover ciabatta rolls, which we had left over from our tortas, which was a previous dinner. So when you make a new meal, you can repurpose ingredients you have lingering in your refrigerator that need to be used up. And when we have chili, we like to have sour cream and a little bit of fresh diced onion and a little bit of cheese.
That looks good.
Yeah. So, and all of our spoons are currently hiding. So, why don't I hold the camera and you could do a taste test?
Oh, that sounds good. This is hot, so...
Yeah, so just blow on it.
That's good. I got a big old chunk of sour cream.
We gotta stir it up a little bit.
It's good. Hold on.
Gonna dunk the garlic,
Dunk
garlic bread.
in there.
Yeah.
That looks good. That is good. This is a good meal to have like on a cold day.
Yep. And it's been cold and wet a lot lately.
Yep.
Alright, and this doesn't take too long to put together on an evening, like after work or whatever. It just needs to simmer for like 15-20 minutes. Just get it going to a boil, set it down a little bit so it's not boiling so hard. Let it simmer. That helps the flavors to marry while you get a side dish together or prepare your toppings. So again, thank you for joining us again on Miss Cindy's Kitchen, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. So please like and subscribe and give me your feedback, and have a great week.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.